7th and 8th graders, he became interested, the teacher became interested in the in the Professional Soil Society. We allowed him to become a member, and he's very active and interested. He's a farmer as well as a teacher. So he said, hey, this is a great project for my 7th and 8th graders. They had a contest, 250 or so kids, and so we're going to have the science, we're going to have math, we're going to have history, we're going to have several subdivisions of poetry, songs about this state soil.
Wow.
Well, so we provided him with some information, and it started way back in the late 1880s or 90s. There were 4 soil series established, and of the 4, San Joaquin soil is still the central same concept that was back then. The others were so broad they were divided or were dropped. Anyway, San Joaquin still remains. And it's about 500,000 acres. It's not a really productive soil, but it has lots of character.
Oh, okay.
So,
Look at Horizon.
Anyway, so they did this contest, and about 15 or 20 kids won this contest, and each one had to do something in each of these groups. They had songs, they had the science of it, they had the history of everything. It was moving, and so they did a test run with the Board of Supervisors.
Yeah.
Help me if I'm not saying it.
In Madera.
Board of Supervisors met in Madera. These kids dressed up. You wouldn't believe how these kids looked. Anyway, it was fantastic. They just did wonderful. So then the teacher got them together. They got a date in the Senate. Well, before then, I testified for the Senate Rules Committee. And who was the guy who was the rabble rouser in the 60s in Berkeley? He's a senator.
Hayden.
Huh?
Tom Hayden.
Yeah. He's, isn't he a senator or was or something?
Was.
Yeah. Anyway, he said, boom, we don't need this anyway, and he did everything. Some guy in Chino, a legislator in Chino, why didn't you make it my soil, the Chino soil? I said, well, that's just a flaw soil, it's nothing. So it's near the prison, you know, Chino prison. Anyway, so we had our date. And have you ever been in the Senate when it's actually going on? It is, nobody pays attention to anybody. And both there's a Republican and a senator were supporting this bill. And the kids were all dressed in suits and ties and beautiful dresses. It was wonderful. Anyway, our bill came up, and they did all this and that, and guy said, "Whoa, what about this banana slug? This stuff is there's a banana slug." Anyway, it's you don't need this. Well, the reason is that the Senate wanted some bill passed, and they didn't give enough information for the Republicans, and so the Republicans voted it down because they wanted more information. This was just a get back thing to the Republicans. So they killed it. The kids were just, all this work. They were crying and everything. Teacher said, gather your stuff. We're going to come back. This is a lesson in life.
Well, he was a Navy SEAL too. Just kind of.
He won't give up. So then another date was set for the Assembly Committee. The chair of an Assembly House Committee had been a school teacher. So we were before her, and their program was like 20 or 30 minutes of everyone coming up and giving their part. So then there was like 5 people, and she said, okay, each of you can have 5 minutes. And I thought, oh no, all the work these kids did. But they called these other people, and they weren't there. And so she said, take your time. So they got up, they sang these songs, they gave the history, they had, boards of display. And when they first started, there was like 7 on this committee. And one guy was on the phone, another guy was halfway sleeping. And I thought, come on, you guys, give me a little respect here. And about 5 minutes in, their attention was direct. And they went on, and they were silent, and they were actually listening. And of course, I was crying. I was so proud of these kids. And when they finished, it was silence. And finally, the chair of the assembly, the woman said, I have never, in all my years as being a politician, heard such a wonderful story and so well presented. And another guy said, I couldn't care less until I started you listening. I mean, they all just, of course, it made me cry more. And so finally they approved it. But then we got a letter back from, who was it?
Governor Wilson's.
Huh?
Governor Wilson's.
Attorney said, well, now, if we get a state soil, does that mean that you can't do anything?
Oh,
500,000 acres? No, it's just education, that's all it's about. And finally, they worked around that, so they approved and signed it. So, anyway,
You want to put it on coffee cups.
this is the state soil, this is the history behind